Hey, we back to Academy. Sorry about the little bit of a. It is Cloud9 Academy taking on TSM Academy here. A lot of changes for both of these teams, both of these rosters, a lot of new faces as well. As I do want to go ahead and bring up the TSM Academy roster because magical. We got some fun pieces here with Soul and Mia joining the roster and coming in with full force. You know, still having some of the previous pieces as well as having some development to go through.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that there's been some really cool roster moves coming in from TSM Academy. Anime Girl, a.k.a. Soul, that's what the old name was back on Immortals AoE, back in the spring Proving Grounds, was a player that I had my eyes on. Really fun player to watch, really great personality as well. So I'm really happy to see that you got picked up for an Academy slot. And then you have Mia as well, another really exciting player to see where I think it's Kelsey said he's the best support in LATAM, where this is a player that everyone's been really hyped about seeing. And seeing him brought over from LATAM into Academy is Takeover. Having played in LCS briefly, subbing in. I think Takeover has made a lot of reasons why you should probably look to pick him up coming into the next year. Because honestly, I think it was a big point of why TSM Academy was able to pick up their wins in the spring split, as well as what, like, sure, yeah, it was TSM in the LCS. It wasn't the great performance, but Takeover still looked like he was doing well.
But the biggest point is how does Takeover adapt to some of these new players, specifically looking back at Soul and looking at some highlights of this player coming into their first Academy split here, and especially like seeing prospect that the reason why there's so much hype around this.
Well, I mean, you can see it just like the mechanics are there. I'm sure everyone's going to joke about Ornn and blah, 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 but the timings he has on a lot of things and being someone who can fight in team fights so well is something that I think is... Concept is a great player when it comes to team fights and how he's able to position picked up. It makes me really excited to see the potential of more growth here in Academy.
Yeah.
And getting to see Mia as well, be in that conversation as well. And I do believe we can hear Cubby.
We can.
What is your breakdown of these additions?
Yeah, so I think honestly,
yeah.
And I think the pieces they have are pretty promising. I mean, Takeover, I still think the Takeover could have been in the LCS slot. He went 4-5 in LCS, and they were the 10th place team by the end of the split. So I really think that like Takeover performed admirably, stepping up into that team late. Now we get to see what he learned and put that into practice in Academy. And Mia's interesting because I think that Mia specifically, like last split in Academy, it was like a joke for these teams behind the scenes that if you want a good bot lane practice, you would scrim their team, the Latin America team, EST. So a lot of that was because Mia and B-Boy were both really highly respected, especially Mia. So the fact that Mia is now on TSM, playing in Academy, really want to see if some of that play that we saw from the second place team in LAM come over and, perform well in.
Another big buff for TSM Academy, though, just off the cuff, right? It is the fact that Xmithy is going to be a part of the coaching staff, and that you have such an incredible player being part of the brains, the workings of the Academy team. I think it's going to be super, super interesting. But they will have a tough tail to take here, as they are going to be facing up against Cloud9. Changes, but some similarities as well. The big one, though, Cubby, is Sheeden coming in.
It's Sheeden time. If you guys missed the pre-show, we were all asked, what off-season move or change in Academy are you most excited for? And my answer, it is Sheeden. Sheeden, for the last year and a half, we haven't been able to see Sheeden compete at this level, just because Sheeden was comp banned for behavioral issues, but Sheeden, has gotten everything together, is really motivated to play pro, and I'm really excited to see what Sheeden can do. You can see some of the clips from the stream. Sheeden was the rank 1 and 2 player simultaneously on the NA ladder.
That's
anyone who has seen Sheeden future that this player could have as a pro. I think this is one of the highest ceiling players that we have in best offseason move out of the entire offseason, behind IMT getting Kenby. I think that C9 is also kind of returning to their identity of having developmental players that can also help you win Academy championships. If you think of C9 historically, how many teams have they had back to the relegation phase that got promoted in the LCS, like then they were sold off and like made C9 a lot of money? They've always had prospects building up. I really feel like Sheetan and Copy can be two of those again for C9 this time.
Well, see, this is where I kind of want to pivot it as well, because we look at how this team is meant. Because of some of these issues, we're having 3 subs step in. Lorem, lineup. And honestly, these are players, like, looking at Wixie especially, I was more shocked when he didn't get picked up because I thought he was a great ADC. The second place team in the Proving Grounds. This guy I have my eyes on still, so I'm glad to see him, even if it's only temporary, back here in Academy.
It is. I think that's something important to focus on, is like this is a show out moment for some of these players as well. And I think if you're going to get an opportunity, I always believe in striking when the iron is hot. And the iron is hot and ready to go for Cloud9's Academy's subs coming in. I think that's something super interesting, and maybe even those quick. We saw it last split as well with Cloud9 Academy having to have some subs for a little bit, and giving those players who are right underneath a little bit of a chance to show out, Cubby.
I mean, it's the old phrase, like football. I know Tom Brady had this great quote where it's like, never squander an opportunity. You know, like you may only get one opportunity to hit the field, so you got to make the most of it. And you know, for these 3 subs coming in, this is a big opportunity. Of course, Wixie has competed at this level before, has been a part of C9 before with C9A. But Trevor at the moment,
second place at BG.
Yeah, Trevor. I mean, it's interesting because Trevor is someone that age-wise is actually much older than most of the players that we have in Academy. Is honestly someone that, as a support, has been consistently grinding through amateur. I know the talking. Trevor get a chance because they believe that Trevor is a player, a caliber player that deserves to be playing at this level, but just isn't because of, you know, his age. Now currently on COG Faith, their amateur program that started the split. Trevor's got a great opportunity to step up and, you know, kind of show us what he is made of.
So I guess my next conversation I want to have is about the fact that, you know, both of these teams having stuck out with their mid laners. Mid lane is going to be very interesting coming into this, because I feel like both teams could use it as, you know, a rock in a storm, something, a safe hideaway, something to kind of rely in going to this game, but maybe approached a little bit differently. I don't know. What are your guys' take on the Copy, you know, versus Takeover matchup going into this, if it is going to be a major piece, Cubby?
I think that these are like 2 of the most exciting mid laners.
Yeah.
Jump to the next level. I mean, I know that Spyrax just had a hell of a series that we saw. Someone else, you know, from it. No, Takeover's proved it. Again, going 4-5 in LCS with TSM, a team that was really struggling, had nothing but struggles for the split. It felt like Takeover was one of the positive, you know, parts of a rather terrible season for TSM's LCS team. I want to see what Takeover can bring here, and then Copy again, someone that I really feel like made a good case to be promoted in spring and again in summer. Of course, C9 trying to make it to Worlds. You know, picking up Jensen, you can never really go wrong with that. And I think it's a great story that Jensen's going back to that org that he started at, trying to win a title for them, as he never won a title with C9 despite some of their great performances at Worlds. So I think that's a great story, and Jensen's a big help. But
yeah. True. Copy was in the hype video. That Trinidad clip, maybe we'll get a little bit more of that this split. But I did hear that Champion Select is ready for our second series of the day. So Cloud9 Academy taking on TSM Academy. Magical, Cubby. Let's have fun with it.
Oh, we shall. We definitely shall, as we get into Champion Select for our second series of the day here on the A stream. Remember, there's also the other stream, twitch.tv/path2LCS, where we have our 2 lovely new people in Sierra and Deserex. We're both on that desk, so make sure you tune in for that. But we're still here. Well, he's not new. He's not new.
you know,
like Josh is amazing. I'm just saying that the new people, we got to give some love to the new people as well.
lot of changes from the offseason. You know, some for our team, some for others around the league, and curious to see how those end up doing, especially in this game. As I really believe that TSM, you know, that they're trying to develop right. And I'm curious to see how they do as we get our first specifically. And for me, first look at Sheeden. Again, someone I cannot emphasize what Sheeden's potential could be for his career. He has done things in solo queue that few people, even in LCS, have accomplished. And I'm really excited to see him round out his play as a competitive jungler.
Well, and look at how the bans have gone so far. 2 jungle bans already aimed at Sheeden.
That's aimed at Sheeden.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% aimed at him. That's like, I don't even argue this one that the Graves could be flexed around. No, that's Sheeden. They're taking that away. And then also Cloud9 kind of returning a little bit of that favor to Soul. The one trick Yone back in the past, no longer going to have that potential open. Like that Lilia, that was going to look at. The Gwen, too, another take. No.
Not played. So I'm expecting this to go into the hands of Sheeden and Lee Sin. And Hyper is a jungler that for me, I felt like struggled still last year. Academy, even though it was a bottom 4 finish for them in PG, I feel like Hyper did improve throughout last split. Lee Sin has always been his best champion and is usually permabanned away from Hyper. So the fact that we're going to see Sheeden going up against Hyper's best champ right off the bat, that's pretty exciting for me.
With an insta-lock Ahri right afterwards, too, for Takeover. Grabbing that pretty quickly. I know, I'm a bit surprised by that as well, just because it's blind here into the side of Cloud9. It's almost like Takeover is just laying down the gauntlets early. Being like, all right, copy.
Hold on. I'm surprised because we're going to see a Viego walk in. I was just teasing how I didn't think Alorum played Lilia. I will have to see if Alorum ended up adding
Lilia
this
could be
champ
mid,
to
too. Well, it could be mid.
That'd be pretty wild. That would be pretty wild, but we will end up seeing what's up. As,
no, it's not mid. It's not mid.
Yeah, we're going to squash that immediately. Going to be the Lissandra counter. It's a durability patch. A little bit easier to step up and make sure you're glacial tombing the right target.
Mm-hmm.
Let CC, but we'll probably see a cleanse out of Takeover. It's going to be really efficient going up against Lilia and Lissandra. Cleanse is going to feel very good for the side of TSM.
Yeah, but you can also only cleanse one of them. So we'll see how that actually works out for the team. While Soul will have his hands at that Gangplank in the top lane. It's funny to see not really that bot lane priority from either side. They're just going straight for the top half of the map.
Yeah, I expect, because of that, on the side of C9, potentially banning away a Lucian. We see the Lulu bans. One of the reasons we're seeing Lulu ban is because it pairs so well with Kog'Maw. But teams they want to take away the Lulu because Lulu has multiple pairings, and it does open up a Lucian Nami threat. So I would not be surprised if C9 does take away the Lucian, tries to set up for a marksman they want, whereas on the side of TSM, they see the Viego, they
also taking away Senna, so there is no shenaniganeries on the side of TSM Academy, just in case maybe the Gangplank would go bot lane, or who knows, the Ahri bot lane as well. You talked about the crazy picks that Senna really allows, so it makes sense that they want to squash that right now.
Lucian's taken off the board actually by TSM themselves. I'm wondering if Instinct is setting up for maybe an Aphelios. Would not feel that bad with Cleanse into Lissandra Viego. Aphelios likes when you're going up against champs that jump in. Could also be a Xayah that they are prepping for, as that is a pick again when teams are jumping into you. Xayah does feel pretty good.
With a lot of bot lane focus, obviously, making sense. We'll see what a little bit more alive on his own, a little bit more independent. Ezreal still open. The Xayah you talked about, I mean, there's still a lot of options. Jhin is another champion that we've seen slowly work his way back into the meta. And so I was kind of looking at that, but no, Instinct going for Kalista.
I like this because it could enable Mia to play more Jade champions, specifically the Alistar. Alistar, looking at Lilia, Viego, Lissandra would feel really good, especially being empowered by a Kalista. but it's looking like C9 gonna pick up the Xayah and Nautilus. And honestly, Nautilus, I would not be surprised to see Alistar, likely an Alistar Leona here coming out from Nia. But I would love to see his Alistar in the first set. This is it was his most played champion, and it was 4-1 with it. So let's see.
Let's see. I actually am with you. That's one of the stats I was gonna say as well. I'm like, Mia's played this Alistar as a player. It's pretty much similar to Yurson before, who's replayed champions just a little bit better, a little smoother on all plays. So now getting that Alistar, like you talked about, you have that engage tool once you hit level 6 with a Kalista, throwing in the big old cow too. Gonna be rough for the side of Cloud9 Academy, especially when it comes to how that target selection could work out.
And I really like TSM. You want that lockdown with the Lissandra, Lilia, but Cleanse feels so good here for Takeover and Instinct. And also, both Alistar and Gangplank have ways that are self-sufficient to get out of the sleep, get out of that Glacial Tomb. So C9, a lot of it's going to really land on Trevor and these depth charges and making sure that, you cannot cleanse out of that. So if the depth charge does connect and C9 are able to get that first reset for Viego, I think that's where things start to go their way. But on the side of TSM, Gangplank, Ahri attacking Xayah, really, you don't have full overcommit. I think Kalista, Alistar, very powerful duo, especially into what C9's showing. So I'm hoping that we see C9 really take the onus of trying to move this Lissandra around the map early, trying to make plays on side lanes and dive, because if we're at even footing, getting past the 15-minute mark of the game, into the game, given how many tools they have to deal with the lockdown of C9.
I agree. Just looking at how that's going to formulate for the side of TSM, as long as, hell, there's even a possibility they can just get Gangplank ahead if Sol is able to kind of get control over Alorum early. Gangplank's already going to be scary to have to contend with, but then you also have Hyper on his Lee Sin. This is his champion. This is the one we've seen the most out of him, and it's also, like you said, the best one we've seen out of him. Whenever Hyper plays Lee Sin, that's when things go from, he's doing all right to, oh my god, he is just solo carrying 1v5.
We've seen Hyper put up some disgusting Lee Sin performances, but again, going into Sheetin, it's funny. So we are going to have a draft remake here, so we're going to be stuck on the screen for a little bit, but that gives us more time to talk about some of the players, the new faces that we have in Academy. Sheetin, so something that you guys might know, a little bit behind the scenes fun fact, Sheetin actually roommates with both Kenvi and Chad. And when you look at that draft, we're looking at like a Kenvi draft, right? Going up against him, taking away some of his champs. So kind of funny. Again, Sheetin, a player we did tease for a year and a half, was comp banned just due to solo queue behavior. But Sheetin, props to him, has cleaned that up. And throughout that time, a lot of people don't realize how involved Sheetin was with the Academy scene and the Academy background. Sheetin was someone who oftentimes would sub in for scrims. Again, lives with 2 Academy junglers. Someone that received coaching outside the game from some of the Academy teams. And there was a bit of a courting effort and a race to see who could actually obtain Sheetin for this season. Because Sheetin, of course, was going to be able to compete for the first time in a while. C9 winning out on that race, it was pretty competitive for an Academy player that's never played before. But again, when you have rank 1 and rank 2 simultaneously on a ladder, you are going to be courted. Sheetin was heavily courted by C9. They ended up winning out on that one, and I'm really, really excited to see what Sheetin can do. Again, I feel like Sheetin is ceiling. The potential is there. I just want to see how he rounds out in the competitive atmosphere.
Same here, and that's always the question mark, right? Just because someone's doing well in scrims and stuff, people always make the jokes of the scrim gods. But it's how do you perform on the stage, especially when there's a lot more pressure here. I think she is up to the task. This is a player that everyone's been hyped up for a while. It's just now, for me, is the biggest thing, is this is the redemption arc from a player who was comp banned for a year and a half, stepping back in, playing competitively, and showing that he is not only really talented and really good, but he's also reformed. And it can be a perfect voice for the Cloud9 Academy team.
Malice fans still left, hopefully cheering on for C9A, even though Malice isn't playing anymore. I think that Malice is this carry jungler, but it's in a way where Malice is going to play to get resources on himself. Map, he's doing so where Malice was stronger than the enemy. That gave C9 an advantage. Shake, take the flips. But if you have a mid laner that can support and back up that player, that's where Sheedan, I think, is really going to excel. This was Copy's role with Kenby, with all the 100 next teams and Kenby. And Copy, it feels bad, but like, you know, yeah, like the jokes about like, you know, mid laners just being like, you know, the jungle dog, like you're like on a leash, right? Like, trying to support the jungler. Copy's incredible at that role. Like, Copy's really good with minimal resources, supporting the people around him. This is what made Copy such... at his best. So I feel like, you know, not only is the pair, you know, have a lot of talent, a lot of ceiling where they could play at that next level, but I think they also complement each other really well. And when you throw in Darshan, King of Destiny around them, the trophy to split. And I want to see if that ends up panning out.
Yeah, but they don't get them the full team at least just yet. Playing with some subs should be still
Australia
good. I'm
Visas,
still gonna,
man.
yeah,
It's been tough this offseason.
Yeah. It has, but that's why I just want to keep the conversation on Sheedan and Copy, because they are honestly what I consider like the core of the team anyways. I feel like Sheedan is a bit of this, well, developmental core, but I mean, that's what Academy's... What, did you not see the hype video that said, who's next?
I mean, of course I did. Come on.
Development is like the whole thing, man. Come on.
If you don't know what Mad Magical is referring to, you can follow at Path to LCS on...
That is true. There'll be some more content being released there not momentarily. Like all the time. I make content. I mean, it's literally just me like walking around places, but that's entertaining, right?
I know. He has a green screen now, ladies and gentlemen.
I've always had a green screen,
but you can use it more now. We can.
I mean, I could do stuff like this and just suddenly, oh, we're in the lab. Ooh, yeah, I could do something like that, but
yeah, unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately and unfortunately, don't have that set up today in LA. But yeah.
I think you froze on stream, but it's okay. Oh, there we go. There you go. It's jumping back and forth. Now you're good. Now you're good. I was just watching you like stuck in pose, and I'm like, man, he's really good at like
pose?
Well, I was thinking you were trying to like a ventriloquism kind of thing, like trying to see if you can throw your full waist.
I'm always trying out things, man. Magical. That's really the key to all this.
Well, and you know who's trying out things? There, just so you know, we do have a delay. There was a champ select bug, so we had to remake. The pick should be the exact same, so we're just vamping until then. But I kind of want to turn the attention a little bit back towards the game. We've talked pretty heavily about Sheedan and Copy, but I want to go and talk more about Mia on the side of TSM, because we were talking about, we were excited that he's getting Alistar, etc., but it's playing with Instinct too, because I think Instinct, despite the fact that TSM Academy weren't a top of the table team, Instinct was always one of those shining lights, constantly on this team, who I always was looking at being a great ADC, a great marksman, and playing for whatever the team needed. And now he's getting someone like Mia, and I'm curious to see how that synergy now will work.
For me, Instinct is interesting because I feel like Instinct already, like as a very young player, mind you, there are very defined strengths and weaknesses in Instinct's play. Instinct, late game team fights, if Instinct's on even footing, I have full confidence that Instinct can position well, pump out damage, and be a big asset to the team. The real concern though for Instinct, you know, still being a young player, and a lot of marksmen do suffer from this in Academy, but laning. Laning was a problem, and Instinct was our weakest laning marksman. True. New pairing, I want to see if Mia and Instinct can lane a bit better with the durability pack. Because everyone has more defenses, you don't get punished as hard for laning mistakes. So I think that is something that does really help out Instinct. And I'm hoping that we see more of the moments of Instinct in those late game team fights where, you know, keep in mind this team, they did win a game in LCS lock-in stage with Instinct, had a very good performance in that one. Was able to, you know, kind of save the back half of the split for TSM Academy. It was still a disappointing Proving Grounds finish, but they managed to climb up, and almost out of 10th place for Academy, which at one point, they were pretty far behind. They had a lot of climbing to do because it was a tough split for TSM Academy.
There was even the point where people thought they were going to be the only Academy team knocked out in.
Yes. Maryville gave them a run for their money.
They did, but TSM did come out on top, which was an impressive feat because more people I saw favored that of Maryville. And so to see that they were at least able to beat a strong collegiate team like that showed, they still have some hope, some things that they can fall back to, Instinct being one of them. But now that they've swapped out a couple of things, such as bringing in Soul, such as bringing in Mia, and bringing back Takeover, I think that there's a lot of strength in the quality that TSM Academy brings to this summer split.
Yeah, and just to clarify for viewers, as this will be, one of the few times we say it again. Soul, of course, formerly known as Anime Girl.
Yep.
For IMT AoE. I did not stutter. That was the old IGN if you are new to Academy. And Soul's interesting because I think it's tough to really make waves in solo lanes in terms of having hype behind you as a prospect. And Soul was able to do that really quickly. Really impressed in the offseason, really climbed up, and now already at this big stage, excited to see how he does.
And here we are. We're finally loaded up. Thank you for your patience out there. This is the second best of 2 for the day. We have one more best of 2 after this as well, but this is the first game of that second one. Cloud9 Academy, TSM Academy. And again, Cubby, they've just gone for the line of scrimmage. I was hoping, day 1, week 1, summer split, they'd come out with a bang. They'd be like, let's fight, let's go for shenaniganeries, and they haven't.
Well, Mad Magical, not all of us can be satisfied here, as we'll be quiet level 1, but I think for the early game, of course, seeing this draft again, returning, again, I really like the scaling of TSM's comp because they have so many ways to deal with the lockdown of C9. I think it's very important the first few Lissandra ults and moves that Copy makes or helps C9 get ahead. Because if C9 does not get ahead, I feel like they will fall to the wayside as it gets harder for Viego to reset in the later stages of the game. So I think C9, stronger early game team, want to see them make the most out of it.
Well, it's funny, too, because while I do agree that they're the stronger early game team, I almost feel like they can wait it out a little bit longer, allow Sheeden to be the primary carry late game, but it's also about making sure they're positioning properly, not having issues like this, where they're getting so low, nearly 2v1 at level 1 by the side of Instinct and Mia.
Instinct's lane, already off to a good start. I will say, so Instinct, when we first saw Instinct, went under the IGN of Cillian, actually filled in for an amateur game at the age of 15. First champion that he played was Callista, won that game, took over the spot in Mirage for a player named Asta, now goes by Neo with Dignitas. So, actually kind of fun seeing Instinct, again, return to the Callista. This is a champion, Instinct being known for his late game positioning and late game team fighting. It is a champion that Instinct has shown prowess on, even at a younger age than what he is now. So, happy to see Instinct and Neo off to a good start in the spot lane.
In this top lane, too. Bowling Alorum on Lilia. Explain why he was brought in for Academy. TSM Academy have their bot lane rotating around, looking for Sheeden.
Wow.
Yeah, Sheeden's going to be struggling a bit.
That's huge. I mean, they already delayed. Sheeden's clear. They're going to force Sheeden to go up. So, this could potentially open Hyper up to a double crash. Priority is still going to exist for TSM even on the bounce. So really good play by Mia early. Again, utilizing main priority to get something for the team as now Wixie.
Oh, Wixie. Bad spot to be in, my friend, as you're going to be the one they don't even focus on. They just use you as a tool to pick up first blood for Instinct.
And what a...
I know.
Turn that into Sheeden set behind, delayed in the clear. That they focus who doesn't have the summoner spell available in the bot lane. They made that look so clean and easy from level 1.
And this is what we also talked about with the Hyper, playing Lee Sin. So you get a strong bot lane in Instinct and Mia, already out the gates, looking great with the Kalista-Alistar combo. But then you add in the favorite champion of Hyper in this Lee Sin, rotate him down bot lane after they had made sure they delayed Sheeden as you had called out, Cubby. So he couldn't even rotate around. And this is a great start that you have for TSM Academy. You've changed a lot of aspects of their team.
And Mia just doesn't even care.
He doesn't care.
He needs to rip at all the feathers as takeover.
Takeover's got cleanse, got flash. Not using either just yet. Can hold on to them the entire time. St. Trevor, you got nothing here.
So it doesn't result in any summoner spells, but it still is a decent.
Okay, Cubby, I'm really starting to like Mia. He's already winning me over. Yeah, I mean,
You got a big fan?
well, because he recalls right there on taking down bot. He spots him instantly, so that way Instinct can have a little bit more. Keep the wave frozen. And also, I mean, before just talking about how he held the wave prior to make sure it was frozen by using his body, even if Wixie is there. You know what? I'm starting to like Mia.
Again, a lot of the academy teams in North America, in Scrim, was if you want bot lane practice, you scrim against B-Voy, Mia, and that team. They were a very good bot lane in that league. One of the reasons that they did place second, Mia was a big part of that. Good to see that being demonstrated early as what a start for TSM Academy.
Seriously is. Just all across the board looking pretty strong, pretty hot. Whenever you have a Gangplank 2, even if it's even CS or slightly behind, you're probably about even in gold, just with how Gangplank works. And what's up, Gubby? What do you got for me?
Copy. I think a big part of the spin day matchup and why that chunk was so good from Trevor is that Takeover actually doesn't have TP, because Takeover did opt for the cleanse. It's a very high value cleanse, but Copy does have the potential now to TP back. He will have item priority over Takeover, and he can utilize that to continuously shove Takeover in and try and open up these windows for Copy to make plays on side lanes. Again, make these early plays with Lissandra. We see Copy use that to stick it to this dragon, as Copy could contest, but because the bot lane shoved in, and because they have Callista, it will be the first dragon for free going over to TSM.
Bot lane's pushed in, frozen. They also didn't have Sheet in there. He's pathing top lane and forcing Copy up top. Exactly. I'm looking at that play right now, and look at where Takeover is. He's already pathing towards the top lane, expecting something onto Soul. So now Soul uses the Cannon Barrage early, trying to delay. There's going to be the sleep put on top of him, but he's going to be A-OK. The turret does not take down Copy, but now that Takeover's here, he's got on the side of Cloud9 Academy. They're running back towards the turret, getting a little bit of prediction from Takeover.
I mean, if it doesn't hit Copy, he's got two others he can't hit in the top side. So I love that from Takeover, though. You called it out, man, Magical. The fact that he knew Copy was walking top after the dragon. Play makes the counter, and TSM are way ahead now to start.
Getting themselves a nice 1,000 gold lead, just over the 7-minute mark. Not too bad, and this even allows Hyper to take the jungle of Sheedan. Takes his blue buff pretty much for free. Doesn't really have a fight back in him to contest against Takeover and Hyper, knowing that this Ahri can jump on top of him and kill him immediately.
Oh boy, they are hunting. They know that Sheedan's going to be on Wolves. Do they find him?
Oh, they spot him out with the Sonic Wave.
Okay.
They're not going to follow it up. I don't think you follow that up with Copy right around the corner. It's a better move to just wait it out, and you might as well get the crab too.
From Takeover. Again, that walk top, reading that from Copy, that's part of why we're excited about Takeover. Taking those learnings from LCS, the fact that he was able to read this one out, and then combining that with how well Soul played this.
Yeah.
Again, the orange, the flash behind the turret, forcing Copy to from Soul, delaying that play and making it so that this was a play that went in TSM's favor.
I like this right here. Just predicting the flash, using that charm.
Matching it, getting
Oh,
three.
matching it, whatever. It's close enough. It was pretty much simultaneously.
I mean, that was one flash for 3 there from Takeover. That's pretty. I'm not too good at math, but I feel like
I have a theory that that's pretty good too. Last I heard, at least, 3 is a bigger number than 1. Last I heard.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee that though. I'm not good at math.
Mia does have access to level 6, so shouldn't be too scared here. Sheedan gonna give that Coward love tap, and Sheedan. I think it is important to note early into the game. Looks like Sheedan's going for what could be a Kraken Slayer or Shield Bow build on the Viego. So again, normally we see the Divine Thunder, we see some Trinity Force, but Sheedon going for that big carry, realizing that, you know, he needs to get that first kill with Copy. Skier build path, and we'll see if Sheedon's able to pull it off.
This is actually what I expected, because I talked about it a little earlier.
Really?
That, yeah, no, looking at how this team comp is built, Viego being the one champion that can have some sort of scaling, he's built up as the true carry for the team. Everyone else is just there to facilitate Sheedon.
Very strong in lane at level 9 and can keep that passive up, and Soul's actually gotten low enough now that Sheedon's here, but that early cannon barrage, Soul playing this weak side very well. Using those early, taking away windows is now bot lane. They can attack.
To go for it at all. They're just going to use a little bit of a stopgap to make sure that they can keep the turret and the plate alive, but they had to burn the ult from Trevor to make sure they could do so, and Hyper, even if he's sitting on a ward, he's got that Rift Herald in his pocket. They can easily force off the members of Cloud9 Academy.
Yeah, off that top. We're going to face check Sheedon.
He is, but Spirit Rush, nice cleanse to get away from the Glacial Prison immediately. With the charm connecting onto Sheedon. Takeover is playing aggressively. He does not care that he is outnumbered because he's got Hyper right there behind him.
I love this play we're seeing out. Mid lane as a native NA player, if you're Copy, and then take over from a minor region, of course, with his residency. So, not it's a pretty difficult task for each of these players. Again, really feel like Takeover had an admirable showing with TSM, with LCS last split.
Same here.
Off to a good start in this one, as again TSM, we like the scaling of their team comp as this game goes on. Being ahead at this point of the game and really good for the side of TSM. I think they're further ahead. I think going to help them get further ahead on the scoreboard here as a couple points go over to TSM.
Well, I'm just looking at like the carries, see how the gold is funneled into them, because I'm comparing an Ahri to a Viego at this point. I feel like those are going to be the real big points of contention when it comes to later into this game. And so far, Takeover got a pretty good lead. They've made sure that Sheedon hasn't really been able to have that pop-off, hasn't gotten the early kills that you were talking about that are kind of necessary to make sure they can get a bit of that snowball rolling for Cloud9.
Copy does have that ultimate coming back up and now has teleport. So we'll see if Copy's able to make a play with that TP. Of course, TPing back here. Will have Prio now mid if he does opt to shove. And this could be the window that he goes to attack top lane again, but Soul... Props to Soul. Again, has survived pressure from C9 gracefully and has that flash back up. All over the cannon barrage coming off cooldown. So, and he dive top. That gangplank orange is hella efficient up there. It's really tough for Copy to pick targets. That's another reason I think this game is very difficult for C9 now.
Looking at bot lane, I love the positioning of Mia. I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of him. He uses the fact that he's a big old cow, can go unbreakable like that, but then get put back into stasis, so he's perfectly fine and A-OK to escape.
Little aggressive there from Mia
I like it,
inside
though.
of TSM. They do get the crash. See if they end up taking the reset. As that plate up goes into the nether.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's no food for them, but at the same time, they're still putting pressure. And here's mid lane. I like this play coming in from... surviving somehow.
And it's not enough damage, and a lot of that thanks to the Merc Treads from the side of Takeover, and also Sheedon not able to quite chain that stun, went for the preemptive ultimate because, you know, it wasn't enough chain, not quite enough damage. Again, again soon, or else it will be a trade of the Sandra ult. Two ultimates go down. Now more keen to try and invade into the jungle, but Trevor hovering. We'll make sure that Sheedon's able to pick up these camps, and C9, again, that early play, that early attempt goes to the wayside. Every time TSM survives that.
And they get themselves the Scuttle Crab on top of it. Now, Hyper, you're just way too far out. Even if that's a nice kick, the flash away, trying to get to the shrine. Can you get your backup called in time? TSM, you got Mia, you got Instinct to hop over the wall coming in from Hyper with 4 members down here from C9. Somehow, they let loose a slippery little eel there in Hyper.
I liked Mia trying to, like, drop the ward for the ward hop. It's like, meet me halfway, man. Like, jump to my ward.
Hey, you know, respect. Again, I'm telling you, I'm becoming a fan of Mia. Big fan.
All right, all you need to do if you want Mad Magical to be a fan of you is pick aggressive champions and play on the enemy side of the map.
Yeah. Exactly. Always play aggressively. Now Mia, though, he's got
Instinct
flash
base.
available. He's used that ult. There's going to be the depth charge on top of him. Waiting to flash out of that one. Waiting to see if he can survive that pull back. Just can't.
Really nice combo there from Wixie and Trevor, too. Compliments to them, the 2 subs stepping in. Not able to flash when that dredge line connects. Comboing that with a rip of the ultimate. Wixie, C9, get on the board.
C9 on the board, getting some gold over for Wixie as well. He's now completed a Gale Force. Not going for that lethality build that we saw back in the spring split. This one has more of that carry potential for the team. Can be a secondary carry outside of just Sheedan.
Speaking of carries, we see TSM starting up the second Rift Herald. We'll see if we have any rotations over as Alarm does spot it.
Yeah, copy Sheedan. They're not gonna keep at it if their TSM want to survive.
I like TSM stepping back there. I feel like the one good alt target for Copy, if I'm Copy, I'm hunting for Hyper. I feel like that is the best target for you to hit. There's no natural way for Hyper to get out of that ultimate. There's no Merc Treads, and it's a Lee Sin. So if you shut him down, blow him up, that's a big reset going over to the side of C9. But now that the bot lane is up here, there's a good reset from TSM. They avoid that window. They get shoved. They bring more members.
Yeah, they bring more members. They're doing well. And here, well, Wixie was trying to topple a turret. Good cannon barrage from Soul. Make sure that at least we'll survive for a little bit longer. Probably won't survive fully, because Wixie already has the minions nearby. He's got that Gale Force I talked about before with the Berserker's Greave. So quickly topples that, gets himself a lot of gold. He'll be fed for lunch.
I mean, Soul will take the gold, right? That's a free wave for the Gangplank. That's a caddy as well. Got the cannon minion. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right, good stuff, but better for Wixie. He gets a turret.
True, turret's not bad. Wixie might be the member that we have to keep our eyes on, as C9 really feels like Wixie is the one member that has actually been able to get gold because of that kill that went on over. But all eyes now on this third dragon. We have an Infernal Soul on the Rift. Again, C9, I feel like they want to fight. They have to force at this point of the game. I want to see them force hard. TSM does have a lead, though. We'll see what they can do.
Charm. Nice charm onto Trevor. Here's a TP from Soul on the other side with the Dragon started up by Cloud9.
Yeah.
Exactly. TSM saying, fine, take it.
We
want your mid lane tier 1 turret so we can set up far better when it comes to Baron play later on.
Really good response from TSM. Again, recognizing the strength of C9's composition now. The strength of TSM's own composition of this game goes later and later. So they say, you know what? We'll take the gold. We're the scaling comp. You get the dragon. That's fine. We already have 2 in our back pockets. We'll take the gold. We'll go from there.
With that extra gold, I'm curious to see how they spend that. They've already got a lot of their mythics completed across the board. They even can utilize the rip. Gotta charge it all. Unless, of course, Takeover can help secure that, but with the minions there, just can't do it. So Copy taking a lot of damage on that Rift Herald. The reason I'm play-by-playing this is I'm curious to see if Shelly gets a charge or not, and she does not.
That's unlucky. Shelly. You hate to see Shelly wasted like that, you know? All that hard work Shelly puts on in the Rift, all the hard work went into being taken, no turret.
No respect. No respect to all the damage she does and all that she does to help out people.
TSM's on a reset, so I can make something. I can do something that makes Mad Magical laugh. We need a meme. You ready for this?
Okay.
We need like the No Maidens meme. It's like Shelly but no turrets.
I like that.
Verbal memes. I get.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, you could do that, or if you give me any Senator Armstrong memes right now, I'll probably laugh as well.
I don't know those. I feel like I should.
It's Metal Gear Vengeance, the meme game.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. See, once I mention it, you're like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, because they're just great memes. But no more memes. Instead, we're here on the Rift. We're looking at the play, looking at a potential turret dive onto Copy here underneath that tier 1 in top lane. But at the moment, TSM are pretty reluctant. There's not really much to fight over, and they don't have the fullest vision on where Cloud9 Academy are at the moment.
Oh, here we go. That's
That's a
Hyper.
nice flash.
That's a good target.
Oh, that's the depth charge. This is what you were talking about, Cubby. But Hyper's still alive. He just kicked away Sheedan, and Copy took a lot of damage from Takeover on the other side. They can continue to fight this one onto Trevor. Jump forward, even if you have the Spider-Man away. The charm makes sure you're dead meat. Wixie, Copy, Sheedan, the last remaining members here in the top lane, with 2 of them having taken damage already. Cloud9 decided to completely retreat out of that one and give over river control to TSM.
And massive props to TSM this game. I feel like they have a very good understanding of what C9 wants to do and what their game plan is to beat it. The way that Hyper was able to kite that out, utilizing the flash, kicking members away, buying time for Takeover and the rest of his team to go, you know, help him out, be the reinforcements. Again, TSM, if they survive the play and they get to counter without dropping a member, they are the ones that are at the advantage. Again, exactly what happened from TSM. Really good execution from them.
And we can see a look at this replay. At first, it looks like a good play. Like you talked about, all that focus onto Hyper, they just couldn't finish the job.
And it was the flash away from Sheedan's ultimate. Again, just a little bit late on the CC chain. Sheedan not quite there in position yet. And Trevor dies for the sins of the team as TSM, again, turn that around in a 2v3 because C9 went too deep. So they're winning across the map. Yes, Cannon Barrage, of course, helping out a little bit, but these cross-map wins for TSM, how they're playing with this gangplank, it's been really, really good to see from them. It's been a very clean game out of TSM.
This is why I was telling you, I was hyped to see Soul, you know, aka Anime Girl, back here in Academy. See how this player is going to be able to play. When on Immortals AoE, was one of those star players that a lot of people were talking about. There's a lot of buzz around this top lane player, how he was able to really help out the team, play around fights, make sure to create space. With this gangplank, looking pretty good at the moment.
We'll have to see if that buzz, or he can live up to that buzz throughout the season. It's a good start to game 1. We are 55 seconds away from the 4th dragon of the game, as TSM Academy going to have their second chance to obtain this soul point. And you got to believe that they are in a bit better position than last time. Not only in map control, but also their items being further ahead in this game, scaling a little bit more for this team to try and contest this one, as they have total mid control. And I don't think C9 can really make a play for this. I think that C9, at this point, they almost have to wait for Sheedan to get this Blade of the Ruined King. I think that might be their next best look to try and come back in this game. Yeah.
I think so as well, because I'm looking at a lot of the items built up, and while they have a Phantom Dancer for Wixie, they have a Zonia's for Copy, I think they need to make sure that Sheedan gets that second item to really feel powerful. That's when Viego tends to be at his strongest, is once he's got that second item completed.
Right now, Alorum is showing top, but Soul just TP'd mid, so C9 will get the push on this wave, has a chance to get a little bit of vision control back, but TSM has the numbers advantage. Here comes Alorum.
Could try to force the issue with Soul on the flank. Not spotted out just yet. Should be fine to sneak his way through. They're getting a little bit of the Ren stacked up. The little bit of those arrows poking through Dragon. But there's the pull onto Mia. Popping the Unbreakable Will. That could be a huge looking lullaby, but they're not going to be able to help out Sheedan because he's already dead. And Alorum will be the next casualty. Double kill going over to Soul. And they've got more. They've got a triple kill. That was a huge blade caller, but Wixie could not do it enough. And it will be an ace for TSM Academy.
The fight is too clean. TSM have scaled, and the focus from this team in the team fight, taking out Sheedan first, and also Soul splitting the fight with that cannon barrage. C9 had no chance to capitalize off of that flash sleep from Alorum. TSM wiped the fight, wiped the objectives off the map, and put themselves in the position to win this first game.
And looking fairly clean here on the Rift. The change, the turnaround from spring to summer, just changing a couple players here. And what's so amazing, this is what we want to see out of this team, where they rebuild their roster and fight these fights so well.
This is a decent engage from Alorum. Again, it's a good chance. They're on the Hyper. It's a big sleep, but look at the gangplank. Soul utilizes the cannon barrage to make sure that Copy, Wixie, Trevor, there is no follow-up, and then the re-engage from Mia on the Alistar. A beautiful flash combo to get on the back line. The rip from Wixie is huge, but it's not enough as TSM shreds C9 in that fight.
Shreds them, gets the Baron afterwards, didn't lose a single member during it all. This is all coming up to TSM Academy at the moment, and they are forcing back Cloud9 back to the drawing board on what they can possibly do.
And again, for C9 Academy, I mean, this is a tough spot, right? Having 3 subs, Sheedan's first competitive match. I have some empathy there, especially, subs stepping in late. Trevor has been competing with CLG Faith for this amateur season, so we don't really know how much scrim time these guys have, but you cannot deny how clean this game plan and execution has been from TSM. And what a debut for this roster. Again, young players, young talent, something that TSM, historically with their academy team, has not done. In the past, it's been players that are more suited to be backups for LCS, that have that experience, have gone to Worlds. I mean, players like Haunter and Cody Sun were on TSM Academy. But now, picking up these very young, raw players and trying to develop them with a young coach who is one of the most successful LCS players of all time in his role. I think there is a lot to be excited about for this TSM Academy roster, and this debut just has me even more excited for this team.
Like you said, it's just the first game. We have a best of 2 for a reason to see if they can continue that, but they got to close out this one first. And looking at how they've played so far, and looking across the board, there's kill bounties on nearly everyone. The only one who doesn't have it that would be important is Hyper. But he's 007. He's James Bond in this game, and he is looking to see if he can assassinate the backline.
Secret Agent James Bond just surviving with Sonder combos. That's been Hyper's
constantly.
gameplay.
I don't know how he's... What was it? Twice, 3 times this game?
Yeah, it's been good stuff. Durability patch. You got to be clean with the combos. If you are going to pick Wasandra, the CC chain, the execution, you can blow people up, but it has to be clean. And it was just ever so slightly off in terms of damage and execution the few times that C9 were able to try it. And that's when you don't connect with those combos, that's when the game gets pretty doomed, which is exactly what we're seeing here.
With another turret falling, every outer turret is now gone. Toppled gold in the inventory of TSM Academy, netting them that 9,000 gold lead with 3 dragons, 1 away from having an Infernal Dragon Soul. That'll be up and available for them to possibly get in about 1:20.
And looking at the items, I mean, that is a completed death cap now for Takeover. Love the Ahri build. Got to take advantage of those AP ratios. It's true damage. You don't need the Void Staff.
What's more important, though? Is it going to be the Death Cap or the Blade of the Ruin King for Sheedan?
It's too late at this point, man. If C9...
Come on! You got to give some hope. There's got to be something.
So any hope for C9 would be getting a pick, getting a catch. But again, a tough part about this game is who do you catch? It's so difficult. As Takeover has cleansed, I love that Hyper's hovering. As Takeover, this could get dangerous. Throw the Sonic Wave, Hyper. Oh, here we go.
Doesn't throw it out.
That's big.
Looks for the kick. He's bounced around for quite some time. Flashed away from the ult from Viego while Takeover is fighting against Wixie. Wixie might not take down Takeover, but they took down Soul, who TP'd in, and now with Hyper far away, split off from the team, Wixie will pick up his 2nd kill of the game.
Okay, nice setup here from C9 again. They realize how doomed this game is. Getting a catch in that brush, this is the best that C9 could have hoped for. They got the pick. Right. They got exactly what we were talking about. So Sheedan gets the reset. They're going to pick up this dragon, prevent Infernal Soul, get some shutdowns in their pocket. That's as good as it gets.
Hey, and you were so negative, man. Like, yeah, it's over. That's what I said. You got to give them the hope, man. You got to believe sometimes. And now they'll deny that soul going over to TSM Academy at the moment, getting themselves their 2nd Infernal Dragon of the game.
Sorry, man. Kenobi was a show that was supposed to be about hope, and it just ripped all the hope out of me. So I'm really low on hope these days.
Wait, you went into Kenobi expecting it to be about hope? Do you not know what happens between the 3rd and the 4th?
It's what...
That's not good, man.
It leads into a new hope, man. I know it's not good, but,
Yeah, it leads into it. That means there was no hope until then.
No, all right. We're not going to get in the Star Wars story. You are wrong. Leia and Luke were the hopes, always.
Well, yeah, but they weren't... Okay, it doesn't matter. Because right now, Trevor he's got out. He's just dead.
Yeah. That's a donation over to Mia. I feel like well-deserved from the Alistar, bloodthirsty support as Mia continuing the rampage.
I love this. I love this play from Mia. He is so bloodthirsty. And he is constantly looking for these plays, knowing the 4v5 fight, the engage from C9 is gone. But they'll fall back temporarily, seeing if they can set up 30 seconds until that Baron, get vision control, and then reset.
Yeah, Mia does have time to go back, but I think Mia is just going to eat some fruits and say, nah, man, it's K. Oh, never mind. All right, there's the recall. Should be a clean Baron setup here for TSM. Again, that Dragon was definitely a mistake on the setup and getting caught. It was a good play from C9 to, create the only scenario that I really believe exists for them to get back in this one. But with Baron spawning, look at all the control. If we can get a vision toggle from our wonderful observers here, look at that, on command. It is spotted, but look at how dark this side of the jungle is for C9. It is an uphill battle as they are trying to make it to this pit to contest the Callista plus Smite comp from TSM. Very tough ask for C9.
But TSM, they read that play just well. Say, hey, we know that you're trying to stop us, so why don't we instead push down mid, threaten your inhibitor?
Oh, takeover. Might get frosty. Does steal the wolves. That's big. Any charms? Okay.
Charm connects onto one. Even gets the Everfrost to connect on another. Has to use the last cone to get back towards the team to make sure they're not getting split up.
Honestly, the one saving grace here for C9, it has been these seeds from Alorum. As Alorum has hit 3 items, has that Leandri's Demonic Embrace combo. Is starting to do some serious damage on the Lilia with the poke. So we'll see if C9 maybe can get a couple chunks, and that can help them out as Copy.
So dark. It is just so
it.
dark for them. And look at Trevor having to flash away immediately when he noticed that Mia was right on top of him. So back they go to the Baron with all these spears poking out through the purple worm. That's a lot of Ren stacks they have, but they're peeled back, still worried about the possible engage coming in from Cloud9 Academy, especially since they have the flank from Copy.
Top laners trade ults as neither team can capitalize. Will be a reset from TSM. This will be mid-outer and an objective bounty going over to C9. So again, C9, good plays from them. They're at least trying to create positive scenarios and situations for themselves, and some of their map movements in the later stages of the game have really forgiven some of the sins of what was a difficult early game as they were not able to execute their comp, thanks to some good plays from TSM.
And while they're still down about 6,000 gold, 7,000 gold, they're at least making sure that they have some foot to stand on against the side of TSM Academy, possibly being able to contest something like this Baron, but with the resets they attempted there, this gives free time to Instinct on top of the objective, and that's a lot that they can do to make sure they have essentially a free smite. Now that all the members of Cloud9 are here, oh wait, Copy! That engage! They got the damage! The rend is enough to make sure the smite is secured for the Baron, but now they've got to escape. They're right in the middle of the pit. Copy goes golden. They've got damage onto Mia, but Mia's still fine as well. They're gonna get a huge knock up! Mia! He shows up to Academy and shows why he is so exciting to watch!
Oh man, the Callista Alistar bouncy house is fully online as Mia lands the double knockup and bounces C9 out of any chance they have to take this game one. As TSM one hiccup away from one of the cleaner games and cleaner debuts we've seen in Academy. What a performance from them as they start this season with a resounding win over C9.
With a resounding win, and honestly, looking at the entire team and how they're able to play, it looked phenomenal. It looks like this team has gotten a lot of practice with one another. They're already learning the strengths and weaknesses of one another. It makes me excited for TSM going into the split, seeing how they can grow, especially because they have 2 new players that they're still developing.
That bouncy house from Mia and Instinct, that was really gnarly. And I mean, for TSM, the start of that game, it is as simple as a bot laner burning a flash. They got the flash out of Trevor. What did they turn that into? They delayed Sheedan's clear. They forced him to swap camps. That bought time and a window for Hyper to make a play. They burned flash proactively to kill the member that didn't have flash. And just like that, they were off to the races. And a team's ability, especially this early in the season, to turn one mistake from an enemy into 2.5 minutes of big wins for your team, that is a really, really good start. And on a statement from the side of TSM, as this roster, I was really excited for the developmental pieces they had, really excited to see if they could fit together. And that was a great start to their season up against C9. We'll see if they can turn it into a 2-0.
We'll have to obviously see after a short break to see how this is all going to go. TSM starting off on a strong foot in our summer split, so make sure you stay tuned. We'll be back after a break.